Good morning, everyone. Sports Shorts Daily. TK, Tommy Chrisan over at Tremonti's Meat and Seafood in Baton Rouge. I am at an undisclosed location in Natchitoches and presented by Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, where you can get your tickets, by the way, to the January 9th event, Champions of the Diamond in Baton Rouge. Go check it out online. Roger Clemens, Todd Walker, Jay Johnson, Dylan Cruz, you name it. Everybody's going to be there. Get your tickets now at lasportshall.com for the January 9th event. It's a once-in-a-lifetime event. And then, of course, we're presented by LeBear's Casino. LeBear's Casino, now with the ESPN Bets Sportsbook in Baton Rouge. A great place to go watch all the sports action, and a great place, Tommy, to go to the window and place your bet against LSU basketball. Now, I've been talking about this for over a year. Even if you're not a gambler, just start betting against LSU men's basketball. I mean, it's free money. I mean, my God, it's free money. Last night, they didn't cover against Alabama State. They were a 21, 22-point favorite, something like that. They were losing at halftime. I mean, it's just so easy. They're terrible, and for whatever reason, Vegas is, weighting them too high. The computers must be showing a strength of schedule or something that is giving them this tremendous advantage to just go get free money. So I think, and unofficially, like 25-5 or 26-6 or something in the last year and a half, betting against LSU men's basketball. It's crazy right now.
And I think that percentage will go up in conference play. They're doing it now, and now they got Texas Saturday. I don't know a lot about Texas, but I think I'm gonna follow the Ronnie plan again and make some more loot.
So I keep thinking that LSU is going to give McMahon one more year, and that they're going to give the coach 3 years based on the fact that when Will Wade was let go, every player transferred. He had 0 players and all that stuff, and they had a cloud over the program with the whole Will Wade scandal. So I figure at minimum they're going to give McMahon 3 years before they can him staff. Could that be expedited, Tommy, to 2? And the reason is because they may not win another game the rest of the year. Like it's like whoever they beat, if they that it's embarrassing, right? I mean, like they probably are going to win maybe 1 or 2, 3 conference games, something like that. So if they end up with that kind of season, did you see the video of the crowd last night?
Nobody. I did not.
Casey McKenzie was at the game. He said it looked like a 12-year-old AAU, in the PMAC, like as far as the number of people. And I saw some video. It was terrible, embarrassing. I can't imagine. And that was first half. I can't imagine what the second half looked like when they were losing at halftime. I'm sure a number of people left. Based on that, if there is just zero interest, that'll get a coach fired quicker than the schedule.
I agree. And, Scott Woodward doesn't appear to be the type of AD that, would be all nice and warm and fluffy like Gail Menson is. And say, we're going to give him a little more time. No, because we know what Kim Mulkey's done, Jay Johnson's done, Brian Kelly's done, some of the other sports, the soccer had a good year. So, I don't think he'll play around, especially with men's basketball, which is supposed to be your second biggest moneymaker. Now in Kim Mulkey's case, women, it's different there. But nationally, I mean, if you're not in the NCAA tournament, getting that experience and getting that money, that's an effect on, the overall part of the men's basketball program. I don't think what we're to play around. I think if this is just a bad season and, like you said, zero interest and a couple thousand people, that's the only amount of people in the PMAC for the games, especially conference games, I wouldn't be surprised to see a change next spring after the Final Four. Or maybe right before the Final Four.
How about, talk about egg on the face, Will Wade last night in his first game back as coach with McNeese. Remember, he was suspended the first 10 games of the season. They host Southern Miss at home, beat Southern Miss by 21. Okay? Now, Southern Miss isn't a good basketball team, but it doesn't matter. McNeese is not supposed to be beating Southern Miss by 21 in basketball. That just isn't supposed to happen. You're talking about, the huge difference in school and conference and all that kind of stuff. And there's Will Wade. Will Wade's going to have arguably the best team in the Southland Conference, make the NCAA tournament, and probably roll out to a bigger job. And there's LSU just going down the tubos ever since he was let go.
Well, here's the thing, Ryan. I've always thought Will Wade could coach. I think he's an excellent basketball coach. He's a grinder, okay? Now, he got caught, okay, with the video, the tape, all that, audio tape. So it's just like Michigan football. They got caught. Have other coaches done this? Have other schools done this? Yes, but they got caught. So I have no doubt that he can coach basketball. And if he's getting a handful of players at McNeese and they're buying into him, you're right. They're gonna march through the Southland Conference, and which is not a strong basketball conference anyway. They're gonna march through that and play in the NCAA tournament. And I don't know if he leaves right away, but sooner or later he'll be back in a major program coaching.
I think nowadays, I do think that if Will Wade has the kind of season we expect he's going to have, which is to win the conference and play in an NCAA tournament, that I do think, based on his resume of winning at LSU, I do think he's going to get a job right away in a bigger program, because now that NIL and transfer portal and all that thing, paying players is all okay. I think he gets a pass. I think a lot of, he would have had a stink on him had it been 10 years ago. He might have had to sit out 2 or 3 years. He might have had to sit out a while, or maybe be at McNeese a minute before maybe some bigger ADs feel comfortable in hiring Will Wade. But I think now people have the opinion, most people have the opinion of, well, why did he even get fired at LSU? Why didn't they just suspend him, fine him $1 million or something, whatever, and let him coach? Because now what he's doing is okay.
Well, and apparently, as we look back, and it's always easier to look back, he got some good advice, like when he didn't go to that meeting, when he was summoned to a meeting, and then he didn't make some other comments, and he wouldn't cooperate for a little bit of time. Then finally, so somewhere along the line, he got some good legal advice in that whole picture. Okay, not that we necessarily knew it that day, because everybody like, why wouldn't he go to the meeting? Well, now we might know. So, and I was around Will Wade a couple of times. He sat with us one night with Coach Canterbury, Coach Bertman, and I to do radio at Sammy's, and he was a fun guy. I mean, he sat with us for a couple of hours, hung around after the show was over, and I mean, I thought I enjoyed hanging out with him, and and obviously I've always thought he could coach basketball and he could recruit. Now, did he make a mistake? Did he get caught? Yeah, but again, a lot of coaches do that. He got caught.
Yeah. Charles Harvey, Anthony Piazza, 2 big Baton Rouge Rouge sponsors. They were at the game last night in Lake Charles, sitting courtside. I know Charles has got a couple of court seats for the McNeese games. That was his first game, of course, he made, because he didn't go when Will. But he was a good friend of Will's, good supporter of Will's when he was at LSU, and those guys still supporting Will over at McNeese. But it's an interesting story. You see the rise of Will's career again, and McNeese's program. You see the demise of LSU, and I would be curious to see what happens if LSU just continues on this downward spiral. Do they give McMahon and his staff one more year, or does it hit so rock bottom that they have to pull the plug?
I'm going to go out on a limb, Ronnie. What's there, 18 SEC games?
Yeah.
If they don't win more than 2 of those games, because somewhere along the line they're going to get hot and the other team's going to be bad and they're going to beat somebody. But if they go 2-16 in the SEC, I'll go out on a limb right now here, December 14th, and say that I would not be surprised to see a change.
Yeah. Unbelievable that they won by 18 last night. The line was 20-22, whatever it was. They were down by 2 to Alabama State. And if you dig in on Alabama State, they are a terrible team. So for them to be losing at home, wow, that was incredible. All right.
In fact, I pulled that score up, Ronnie, and I said something about I got to see if Ronnie's plans work. And it was actually 34-30 at half. Alabama State was leading. And I had to okay, wait, I got to look at this closer. And you with the glasses on, come read this to me, because I was shocked that it was that,
The other shocking thing was Kim Mulkey's team beating McNeese by 8-something points the other day. They were Kim Mulkey against McNeese, that they were like a 62-point favorite. And I remember being at Bushwood Christmas party the other day at Phil's, and we were talking about it, and somebody said the line was 62. Now the game was underway, and Anthony and I both looked at each other and said, "I think I got to take McNeese getting 62 points." You know what I mean? And we looked up the score, and at the time we looked it up, they were trailing by like 75 with 9 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Incredible. Obviously, Kim and that they have Kumbayad, and Angel Reese is back in the fold, and everything's good in the world again. And now they're looking. Now McNeese isn't good, but still, and if you hang 120, 130 points on air, that's impressive. And obviously, they're all back, getting ready for SEC play, and circle the calendar for that South Carolina LSU game. I think it's the last Thursday in January, I believe.
Yeah, I think. See, now I know. Yeah,
South,
I forget the exact date, but they come. It's a Thursday night at the PMAT. You're right.
Yeah, it's that last Thursday in January. Unfortunately, I'll be up at the Washington D.C. Mardi Gras ball. That's Thursday, Friday,
I'm
Saturday.
not shocked.
Drew Brees going to be the king of that, so going up there. But it'll be that Thursday night, and that's going to be epic. It'll be a sold-out crowd, 15,000. South Carolina LSU women's basketball. Can't wait for that. What else is going on, TK?
Well, I mean, a couple of things just bouncing around. The Los Angeles Lakers kind of came out and said they were going to hang a banner to win the in-season tournament. Okay, and they are getting. I mean, they've gotten torched on social media and television interviews, and people like Barkley and all these NBA gurus just saying they can't do that. I mean, this is an in-season tournament. And then LeBron James got the MVP, and he was clearly outplayed statistically in minutes by Anthony Davis. But somehow it went to LeBron James, and now they're talking about they're going to name the in-season MVP trophy after LeBron James. I mean, the NBA is just trying a little too hard. They don't realize that James is not very popular. He's not well liked in general. There are people who think he's the greatest ever, but for the most part, he's not well liked by NBA fans and certainly the other teams. I'm sure Laker fans like him. But it's just a joke that they would even think about doing that. I really hope they don't do that. Charles Barkley was on the Dan Patrick show yesterday. He said he will tear them a new ass on TV that they've never had done before if they really go ahead and do that. I don't think Barkley was aware that they had said they were going to do that. So that's been kind of funny.
That's the equivalent to me of getting a USSSA ring for an April tournament.
Exactly.
The Easter special, all tournament in Sulphur, and you win it and you get a ring. Like, to me, that's what they're doing by hanging up the banner. Everybody gets a ring.
Oh no, Ryan. Or it's kind of like, and I worked for USSSA. Lady Peachu's a great friend, big supporter of the Rougarou, the whole bit. But sometimes some of these World Series for the USSSA, they have like 9 tournament champions. There's a red, white, and a blue division. There's a gold, bronze, and silver division, and all this. And then that team that is terrible who wins their ninth flight, for lack of a better word, a golf analogy. They want to call themselves World Series champions. No. You won the 9th flight of a tournament. If you're like winning the 5th flight out at Greystone, of the member or the member guest, whatever was playing, and then you trying to think like you're going to the Masters or something because you won that. By the way, breaking news, Ronnie, I played 18 holes of golf yesterday, first time since the 2 knees. The right knee was done 16 months ago, left knee 12 months ago. Played 18 holes of golf with a couple of my old teammates. 0 problems with the knees. The golf swing was a little rusty, but 0 problem with the knees. Dr. Craig Green did a great job on my knees. You recommended Craig to me many years ago when I began having pain, and then it finally reached the point where we had to replace them both. Because you and Craig were at LSU at the same time, right?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he did. My daughter's had 3 knee surgeries, and he's done them all as well. He was a former football player, former defensive back.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, so I played the 18 holes of golf, and again, 0 problems with the knees. And there was not one time, and there was a couple of times when I walked up the fairway instead of jumping in the cart. It got a little chilly the last couple of holes. And 0, never did I think, the knee, or what about that? Again, the swing was a little rusty, but the knees were perfect.
So it was 16 months from the time you had your first knee surgery. When was the last time you think you played golf? 2 years ago?
Probably 2 months before that, I played up at Copper Mill, and I was with Lane Petrie, and after 9 holes, I said, guys, I got to quit. I cannot take this anymore. I'm in too much pain. I literally had tears in my eyes on the 9th hole, and I had driven separately because I didn't think my knees would last. And they said, hey, we get it. We understand. We'll meet you at Hooters in a couple of hours, which is what we did. But so it's been almost 2 solid years since I played golf. Now, this summer, probably 6 times I went and hit balls at a driving range, either somewhere or, whatever. I hit some balls. And so I didn't think the knees would be a problem, but they were not yesterday. So I'm grateful. I would tell anybody, if they're your doctor, whoever that he or she is, says you need a knee replacement, do it. The first month will be no picnic. I'll be honest with you. And I'll be happy to talk to anybody that's considering it. But then I'm going to say what everybody says, Ron. I didn't know how much pain I was in until the pain was gone. Because you start tolerating it. You take some Advil, you take some Tylenol, and, or you sit down for a minute, put ice bags on it. And then finally, Craig Green said, okay, you're at the threshold. We got to do this. And I'm very, very glad I did it.
I'm dreading that day. I'm sure it's going to come for me too, but I'm dreading that day. Maybe having
but I'm a little bit older than you, Ron. So
maybe having it sooner than later. Though I'm going snow skiing with the family the last week of December this year, and
Honey, do you still vote in Louisiana? I mean, like you're never here, huh? I mean, you still a registered voter. I mean, you travel.
I wish we had better candidates to vote on, but yes, I do vote.
No, I'm happy for you. I know you've worked your butt off for many years to get to this, and enjoy it, man. Enjoy it.
I haven't been snow skiing since I was in my early 20s, so this is going to be quite interesting. So wish me luck. And no, I'm not in my early 40s, even though I know you might think that. I'm early 50s. But what else we got, TK, in the world of sports? Pelicans won last night.
Yeah, they won by 20 without Zion. He has a sore ankle. They'll play at Charlotte Friday night. A lot of talk in the NFL about the officiating. There's been some significantly missed calls. It seems like it's more magnified, because of TV, and you got 30 angles and, the 4K. And, I mean, you can see the ball move when that receiver hits the ground that you couldn't have done 10 years ago. The technology wasn't there. And, and then, the whole thing with Mahomes and Reed blowing up at the offsides penalty. It's been getting a lot of run and a lot of play. They're talking about banning the tush push or the brotherly shove that the Eagles are doing. They're talking about changing the other rule about the fumble out of the end zone. There's too much focus on the referees and or, replay and the rules. I'll say this, Ronnie. I've been saying this for over 10 years, and this is a TK original. I firmly believe the NFL needs more referees on the field, 2 more refs on the field. These athletes are so skilled, and that ball can go from here to there in no time flat. These runners can reverse course, and these refs can't keep up with it, And if you had 2 more refs, they would better cover the field, just like when they added the 3rd referee in basketball. Everybody's hair got on fire. Hey, we're going to put a 3rd ref. And I remember a high school coach telling me, I don't want 3 refs. I don't need 2 more eyes seeing what's going wrong. But now you wouldn't think of playing a high school or college or a pro basketball game without 3 refs. And it's not money. And NFL's about to become a trillionaire company because they're going 9 games overseas in 25. It ain't the money. Get 2 more refs on the field so you can better cover that 30, 40-yard window. I'm not talking about when they throw the ball, 60 yards down the field. Better cover the field. Because there's so much money on the line now. And, Ronnie, we back up 10 years ago or 15 years ago, gambling was taboo. NFL didn't want to mention the word gambling. Now they're playing a Super Bowl in Vegas. They put the point spreads up. The announcers talk about the over-under, the point spreads, the first half total, everything else. A lot of money changes hands. Now, in that Chiefs game, the bottom line is the guy was offsides. Okay, there's no question he was offsides. And then he's supposed to get a warning. I mean, there was a lot of BS. The guy was offside. But when you look at the amount of money that changed hands when that touchdown was taken off the board, and we don't know what would have happened in the last minute and 20 seconds, that's an unknown. I get it. But it's, it's getting the attention because so much money is involved. When referees have always missed calls, they've always missed calls forever, and they always will. But the amount of money that's involved now, it's getting more attention.
Patrick Mahomes, to his credit, has come out and apologized for his whining.
So did Reed.
Complaining.
So did Andy Reid. Yeah, because they got hit in the pocket for that. There's no question.
Yeah, so. and they went a little bit too far. They went a little bit too far with it. But anyway, that said, well, I, as far as the tush push is concerned, which is more like a rugby kind of scrum. Here's my thought, Tommy. If you don't, let's say you go back to the way it was, where it was illegal. It was illegal, but there were so many times where it still kind of happened. Now, it didn't happen to the degree it is now, where it's literally like three people behind a quarterback and they're wedging them, and it's a true scrum. But it was always very suspect, even in the past. A lot of times it was just a running back who kind of ran in there and pushed the guy, or a lineman from the left kind of slid over and pushed the quarterback, and that was never called, even when it was a rule. I'm okay with it. One, it helps the offense, right? The whole idea is things to be high scoring. They want as much offense in the league as possible and in the games as possible. So it keeps offenses on the field by letting them convert 3rd and 1s or 4th and 1s or whatever the case may be. Hey, I mean, if you got a quarterback who's able to be athletic enough and get in, versus the old stiff guy, I mean, I think you get an advantage. I don't know that I'm against it, because if you're not going to put the rule in, I mean, if you're not going to allow it, then you better be overly, calling that penalty for pushing, because I just didn't see them ever call the penalty for pushing in the back, even when it was a rule against it.
Well, Ronnie, how many times have we seen a running back get like 4 or 5 yards, and then they kind of stand him up, and then it turns into a rugby scrum, and everybody comes in, and he goes 2, 3, maybe 4 yards further, when if they'd have hit the whistle, his progress was clearly stopped briefly. Figure out a way to stop it if you're the defense. Ronnie, remember when the Wildcat was a big fad? Okay, the Dolphins used it, a couple other teams. Well, as soon as the defensive coordinators figured out how to stop that, it's basically going away unless you're Taysom Hill. So, but at one time it was like, oh my, and then it went away. Defensive coaches in the NFL, they figure out ways that they figure it out so well that the NFL has to have rules to help the offense, which they do. Okay, because otherwise, if you went back to the rules of the 70s or even the 80s, no, there'd be a lot of 10-7 games, because the defensive coordinators would significantly limit the offense. Now, there'd be a busted play here or there. I mean, we know that, but so it's an interesting conversation, and it has caused a divide. A lot of people are like, oh, they got to ban it, and then people are like, oh, figure out a way to stop it, or like the Eagles said, hey, if we need our job to get a first down and to move down the field and score points, you're telling me we can't run a play that we think gives us a highly successful, high percentage chance to stay on the field? I mean, there's not a big sway of for it or against it. It's pretty much ripped down the middle.
We will talk more on Friday about
tomorrow.
Tomorrow about LSU's football schedule. It came out. Everybody has reactions. We'll get into the details. If you're a season ticket holder, this is going to be a good year. Anytime you got Alabama and Ole Miss on your season ticket, and then anytime you got Oklahoma now and UCLA. I mean, 4 of those 7 season ticket games are going to be good ones. Yeah, you got Vanderbilt, South Alabama, and Nichols. But those 4 are going to be outstanding. So we'll talk about the schedule tomorrow, and we'll get into more. Also, we'll get into talking about the Baton Rouge Rougarou. The schedule came out. Speaking of schedules, is out. Tickets are available at brrougarou.com. They make great stocking stuffers. You can get your season ticket pass, where you and a guest get in free to all Rougarou home games this summer for only $100. That's literally like $2 a ticket. You can't beat it with a stick. So make sure you get that now. And we'll get into a whole lot more. So, TK, tell us about Tremonti's on the way out.
Well, they're getting ready for Christmas. Big catering order just went out the door. They got a lot of cheeses. For people that like cheese with their wine, or you just like cheese, they got provolone, Gouda. There's a huge cheese selection that's relatively new for the holiday season here at Tremonti's. And I'm going to say, I say this every now and then, I want to say it again. If you've never stopped in Tremonti's, I'm going to ask you to do it. And when you walk around and you see the meat cases, the seafood, the bourbons, the wine, all the meats, the Chairman's Reserve meat, the Wagyu steaks, and the chicken and the ribs and the pork chops, when you see everything they have here, you're going to become a regular customer. I mean, Mike and his staff do a great job. Big supporters of the Rougarou. They all got their Rougarou jerseys now. They're fired up. They said,
You
"Hey,
got to
these
get
things
me a
look
picture,
great."
Tommy, with them all wearing it that we can post on the Rougarou page.
I will do that. I'll get the three of them to coordinate that here soon. But they said, "Hey, these things look great. They're fantastic." So, we want people to get that Baton Rouge Rougarou stuff. But stop by Tremonti's. You'll be glad you did. I'm ordering the half a prime rib, which I'll be able to eat on for a week or so or more. They got everything else you need. They can cater, small party, big party. And they got gift cards and gift boxes that you can use to take care of people. So Tremonti's Meat and Seafood, Jefferson Highway, Baton Rouge. Check them out.
All right, for TK, I'm Ronnie. We'll be back tomorrow morning, Friday, 9:30 a.m. for more Sports Shorts Daily. Until then, please like and share this video, and have a great one, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.